Thank you. We doing Q&A style? Okay. All right. One moment. Yes, I was invited to speak, and then found out at the last moment people had prepared things, and I did not prepare things. So I asked for the opportunity to be asked questions. Zen, I'm so impressed that you are still bringing that energy this deep in. I mean, it's getting better with each one. I'm very, very impressed. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Hey, hello everyone. Very happy to be here, and I'm Elena, and the co-founder of Delusium, and we're having Alex here, who is the CEO of Aerodrome, which is a very very like top DEX in base ecosystem. So yeah, welcome.
Why, thank you. And thank you for being my impromptu Q&A partner here.
Yeah, just like they just told me that actually. Yeah. So so we all know that Airdrome is like the number one on base chain, right? So I'm very curious about like how you just start this company in early days, like what your strategies, like how you manage to get the first wave of users when there's a so competitive that time, right? A lot of like DEXs everywhere, Uniswap and SushiSwap, a lot of things there. Like how you made it.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty cool story, and I think it's a story that's really only possible in this space. So for me personally, I got into DeFi summer 2020, 2021. And I think I got so engaged in the DeFi ecosystem, right? And I was blown away by this idea that you could just show up and participate and be rewarded for your participation. You didn't have to ask anyone's permission, didn't even have to know like what exactly you were getting involved in. You add value, you get value back out. And I basically was so blown away by that idea that I just quit my job. I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what I was going to do.
What were you doing that time?
I was working for kind of like a boutique consulting agency. So, yeah, but locked in my apartment. These were pandemic times, so was ready for something new. And I just jumped in, right? I tried to learn as much as I could. I like
summer, right?
Yeah, DeFi summer. I started LPing tokens and earning more tokens, and then I could use those tokens to go participate and earn more tokens. And before I knew it, I was Alice in Wonderland, just deep down the rabbit hole. And I got engaged in a DAO, basically, right? A new project had launched. It was called Solidly. It was on the Phantom network. And I joined a DAO that was basically a sub DAO of this thing. And in joining the sub DAO, I met a bunch of very smart people. But here's the thing, I only knew them as Discord PFPs, right? These were virtual strangers to me. And that DAO, I just started contributing, I just started adding value. And before I knew it, I had more responsibility and more responsibility, and I was wrangling the chaos. But collectively, we saw an opportunity, right? We saw this DEX model that Andre Crone had pioneered, and we saw kind of what needed to be fixed and improved in it. And so we began by launching Velodrome on Optimism. And we were very early. We're thesis driven. This is still when everybody said, you have to deploy to an alt layer one, stay on Phantom, go to Avalanche. Why would you?
So what's the choices you have that time?
I mean, they said literally go anywhere other than an ETH L2, right? Because in their mind, these were dead chains, right? But we believed in the vision of Ethereum. We thought ETH L2s were going to basically combine some of the best attributes of the alt L1s, fast, cheap, accessible, with the power of Ethereum. And so we wanted to be early on that. We launched Velodrome literally the week Luna collapsed. So let me tell you about launching a liquid airdrop when the only thing anybody can do is sell as much as they can and get out and move on chain and
Yeah,
buy
that's
themselves
people
some
always go
fiat.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty brutal, right? But we had this thesis.
Starting from like a Uniswap, like a sushi swap. Yeah.
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 Yeah, exactly. So that was the start, right? But we persevered through that, and we kept building. We believed in the thesis, and we kind of just said, "Hey, wouldn't it be great if one day on Optimism on this single L2, our DEX was bigger than Curve? Then we were bigger than Curve." Wouldn't it be cool if one day our DEX was bigger than Balancer? Well, then we were bigger than Balancer. And you go, oh my God, Uniswap's worth $10 billion. Wouldn't it be cool if one day we were bigger than them just on this one single chain? And then we flipped them as well, right? And thank you. But we just took it step by step. And then those steps just kept accelerating, right? So Base chose to build on Ethereum and the OP stack. And so we got introduced to Jesse very, very early at the beginning.
Very, very early stage, like Base is like nobody's like saying like everywhere, something like that nowadays. Yeah.
No, yeah, at that point, as far as I knew, Jesse was the only guy working at Base, right? But he had a vision, right? And we believed in that vision. So once again, we had a thesis and we tried to be ahead of the curve. And we thought Base was going to be huge. And so we deployed Aerodrome on Base. And, for us, this is to your original question. I've been long-winded here, but we believed in the model. We believed the DEX model worked, right? And we had already had all of this success. And the day Aerodrome went live on Base, we doubled the TVL of the entire chain.
Oh.
And yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. I mean, yeah.
Well, it was crazy. I mean, I don't even think we had any expectation of doing that, but we believed in the model. We turned it on. And people came to us and they said, oh, well, what kind of deals did you cut to do that? Who are you working with? Are you guys all ex-Coinbase employees? Like, is this some sort of, inside thing? We said, no, the model just works. We have got no idea who showed up with all of that liquidity. The model just works, right? And even that is when I think, we got very close with the Base team. Not because we had any sort of inside track, but because we created impact on the chain. And, from there, Aerodrome's never lost the position of being the #1 DEX on Base. And the crazy thing about Aerodrome, given the success of Base, is that we're the second largest DEX on EVM, only second to Uniswap.
From day one?
No, not from day one. Not from day one. That has taken more time.
Yeah.
But that is because of the growth of Base, right? And because we focused on an ecosystem we believed would grow.
Wow, cool. So, have you ever experienced some moments like do or die, or some like very difficult decisions you have to make to get through along your journey?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, so we're very unique, right? We didn't raise any money.
Oh.
So
how many people you start from?
It was a handful of us, right? And again, all anons to one another, right? These are people in Discord. We didn't meet until about a year into the journey.
Okay.
But we had literally no money. And we launched Velodrome as everything was going to hell. And we had to find ways to survive, right?
Yeah.
And the product needed a lot of work, right? Needed a lot of effort. We had to do so much from that first day to survive to get to a day like this. But I mean, we went through so many trials and tribulations. And even in that early group, we had people who left, right? Because they realized this was not going to be a quick win. This might literally never work. You might never get rich doing this, right? You might never succeed. And, but we stuck to those first principles, right? We didn't allocate ourselves tokens that we could go sell on the market. We'd never sold any tokens to VCs. We were just users of our own platform, participants equal. And we believed that if we stuck to those first principles, that eventually people would realize what we were building was very special.
But like, it's how long that you before you earn like to make revenue, like the first day of your revenue? Yeah.
Well, the great part is because our token, we like to say, is maximally useful. The protocol started making money immediately. It's just very little money. And the only way
Transaction fee is not so high. Yeah.
Yeah. But the only way anybody gets to capture those fees is if they lock the token and participate. And that's what we have to do to capture those
Do you
fees.
have your token like on day one, or it's immediately launched? Like once you launch, you have the token already?
Yeah. So like in the initial allocation, right? Like teams will usually give themselves like 20% of the token. But what they're actually doing is giving themselves 20% of the token, vesting it over a certain period so that once everybody gets super excited about it, they can sell it and exit. And
Just like sushi swap.
yeah, well, and the industry is literally full of a graveyard of protocols that made people fabulously wealthy that didn't achieve any product market fit. The token was never useful for anything other than being sold and enriching insiders. And that is what we were reacting against. So we had 20% of the initial supply, but it's locked and locked forever and can't be sold. And so the only way we get rewarded is the same way as just talking to somebody early who locked a bunch of Arrow early, same way he gets rewarded. And by the way, when Coinbase, said, hey, what you guys have here is pretty cool. We'd love to be involved. Can we buy some equity in your company? Can we purchase tokens? We say no. So what do they go do? They buy tokens off the market. And by the way, I think it's still Coinbase Ventures' largest liquid investment in their history. They lock and they participate and they earn revenue the same way we do. So we are an equal stakeholder to anybody else. We have to vote, participate, use our tokens, fight dilution, right? All the same things. And that's how we get rewarded. So we were able to start getting rewarded very early, but it was no different than anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. So like what's the most important point you think that end users, like on-chain, like mostly like on-chain traders, they cares about as you are so successfully in this user acquisition perspective? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very easy. Most users in crypto and DeFi are mercenary. Traders do not care where their trade lands. They just want the best execution on that trade.
Best execution. So still the trading speed or performance experience.
Yeah, exactly. Speed will be part of best execution. Slippage will be part of it. The fee will be part of it, but they don't care, right? They will just look for the best execution.
But for base, like on day one, their like trading execution is still like milliseconds or some. That level is already that level of trading experiment from the trading experiments.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, base was a bit slower, but like if you're a trader and you're just looking to swap a token on base, you just want the best execution on it, right? You don't care what DEX it lands
compared with other EVM chains.
Yeah. So you have to give traders the best execution on their trade. Liquidity providers, also mercenary. All they're interested in is the best reward for the risk that they're taking on. And give them a better reward, they will move off of your platform.
But like easy come, easy go, right?
Yeah, easy come, easy go. They're mercenaries. So for us,
how you like them stay is a problem. Like how you deal with that issue.
Yeah. So the way we do it, right? We ensure traders get the best execution by ensuring the liquidity providers are rewarded in the best way. And the uniting mechanism there is the token. So 100% of the current and future revenue of the protocol gets distributed to lockers of the token, right? And those lockers of the token direct the token incentives to the liquidity providers. So on Uniswap, you're capped in terms of how you can be rewarded as a liquidity provider by the amount of fees being generated in a moment in time. On Aerodrome, you are being rewarded in a token that represents all of the collective fees, all of the collective revenue of the protocol in the form of the token. And by the way, that means you can internalize into that token revenue from things like the community launch we just had. The community launch syndicate token, if you're not familiar, just launched on Aerodrome last week. Incredibly successful, and it led to $18 million in revenue flowing to VE Aero lockers. So Aerodrome last week is the #1 revenue producing protocol in all of DeFi, more than Pump, more than Hyperliquid.
Yeah.
And so the token you're emitting, right, represents the potential that a new project will come, they'll show up, they'll want to launch, and they will put up 1% of their supply, and that's worth 18 million. So that is much more than Uniswap or anybody who doesn't make a token maximally useful can reward. So now liquidity providers are rewarded more than they are anywhere else.
Yes,
and now traders get the best execution. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the most important thing is how to incentive the liquidity providers, right? So that's the most important thing. So given the highly competitive on-chain trading landscape, so you know, all the trading DEXs, platforms and DEXs, they all have CFI level experience, right? So how you think is what's the most important point for them to compete with other competitors for now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing for every DEX is to figure out what business are they actually in, because DEX and liquidity infrastructure is infrastructure. It's the foundation of the on-chain economy. And that means folks like Coinbase, right? If they want to offer their customers all these new tokens, all this permissionless infrastructure, they will just tap into the best DEX rails, right? Which they've done now with every DEX on Base, but including Aerodrome. So every token on our infrastructure trades on them. But that means anybody else who enters the space, Robinhood or an AI agent flow, right? Or anybody else, if they want to give their users the best trading execution, they will just use the best rails. They are mercenaries like anybody else, right? And so for us, we focus on ensuring traders get the best experience, liquidity providers get the best experience. They are rewarded, they get the best execution. But we leave it up to everybody else to figure out what those CFI experiences are, right? You've got Definitive as an amazing trading platform. I mean, now you've got Coinbase, right? Surfacing to their users the DEX interface. You have the Base app, which is doing this. And some like DEXs, like Uniswap, they've actually positioned themselves as a competitor too. They have their own wallet, they have their own front end. And we think the right thing to do, right? If you really want to win, know what business you're in. And we're in the infrastructure business. We want everyone to use our infrastructure because it's the best. And don't confuse that with being a wallet provider or thinking you can build a better app than Brian Armstrong can, because I think that's where you get a little mixed up.
Sorry to interrupt you guys. Can I have everyone's attention? Can you please lower your voices down, please? Thank you.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, so what's your opinion for the perp DEX as it's so popular these days, like the Hyperliquid and the Aster sort of things?
Yeah, it's very cool to see perp DEXs really having a moment. And there, I think, are some amazing new products and innovations happening in the space. I see a very complementary relationship between perps DEXs and spot DEXs, right? Because especially in the long tail of assets, new things launching, perp experience is kind of further down the line, right? You still need that environment where you can permissionlessly spin things up, where you can do that initial sort of price discovery and things like that. And so I would see them as both essential parts of this sort of on-chain trading ecosystem.
Yeah, do you have any plan to launch a perp DEX in the future?
No, this again goes to, focusing on what business are you in, right? We work with some amazing perp DEX partners, right? We just helped Avantis have one of the most successful launches, right, that's ever happened on Base. And we're so excited to do that. And we know that they play an essential role in the ecosystem. And I think they know we play an essential role, and they're kind of different but complementary roles. And so I would much rather focus on ensuring that users across EVM have access to the best spot liquidity infrastructure. Because right now, meta DEXs like Velodrome, Aerodrome only service about 30% of the market. I would much rather be sure everybody has access to this than like get into a different business, right? That other people are doing fantastically well.
Yeah. Kind of agree with more. So yeah, and another topic is about the AI aspect, because as Flock is like focused on decentralized AI training. So when it comes down to AI part, do you have any like plans to in the future to introduce some more advanced AI compatible things into the ecosystem?
Yeah, I think this is again where, I want to focus on the role that we play, the thing that we are best at, right? And we have built the platform with AI agents in mind, right? And AI interfaces in the sense of our product, our front end is entirely on chain. There are zero off chain dependencies, there's no APIs, there's no subgraphs. So if you think about what it takes to design an AI agent, you need to know the data is there. You need to be able to see it. It needs to be real. There can't be all this sort of off-chain or centralized dependencies. So we built it very much with the idea in mind that there is going to be an ecosystem of people building new and interesting AI agents, agentic sort of like user interfaces, and that we, just like we want to be the essential rails of a Coinbase, we want to be the essential rails of whatever the newest innovation is in the AI space. We don't want to compete with them. We want to be their partner, right? We want to enable them. And we built it with that in mind. Like we're very, very excited to see what people are building.
Okay, so it sounds like a permissionless AI agent system, right? Built on Airdrome, some sort of like.
Yeah, I mean, already people have built trading bots and things like that wouldn't be possible on other decentralized exchanges because there's some off-chain component that agent cannot scan or trust in the same way, right? And user interfaces and things like that as well. Our system uniquely enables an AI agent to be able to scan and understand everything. Also, we are huge in immutability, right? Like we can't go in and change anything, right? The agents will know what they are working with. They don't need to adjust anything. And so, yeah, we want to be those rails for this entire new ecosystem because I don't even think we know where it's going. Yeah.
So it's like that you're gonna provide a kind of SDK for users to build the whole like AI agent system, right? Like.
Yeah, we do have an SDK if you're building AI infrastructure that you can plug into. But the beauty of it is it's an entirely on-chain SDK. I mean, we're really just helping to enable. This is not something you have to work through. This is just to make it easier because an AI agent in the future won't even need an SDK. They'll just scan all the contracts and be able to figure it out themselves.
Like, do you think like something like Copilot, some sort of that thing would be the trigger for the next wave of on-chain trading users coming from like TradFi or non-crypto user side?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's going to be like a ton of catalysts, right? So Brian Armstrong at Coinbase has said that he believes that in the next 5 years, 10% of global GDP is coming on chain, right? And if that is true, that means all sorts of things are coming on chain. Real world assets are coming on chain. Stocks are coming on chain. We'll see entirely new asset classes that come from on chain out into the world, right? Into the everything exchange. And so what I see is just an explosion of growth across every vertical. that decentralized exchanges basically facilitate. And that's why we do want to be these sort of essential rails of this new on-chain economy that is going to be orders of magnitude larger than where we are today. And I think we're seeing the beginning of it right now. We've had new real-world assets issued on Base, on Aerodrome. Those assets trade on Coinbase now because these are not things Coinbase could ordinarily list, but they can surface our trading infrastructure directly to their users. And I think this is only going to accelerate with all the regulation hurdles sort of cleared or increasingly cleared, with the doubts about DeFi and decentralized infrastructure clearing. I think it's going to move faster than any of us are even used to, right?
But what's the barriers you think for the non-crypto and TradFi mass adoption into crypto? Like, what's the missing piece for today?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we've done some of our own analysis, we think if you're just looking at growth within verticals, we think real world assets are going to be some of the fastest growing areas. I think institutions are deeply, deeply serious about getting on chain now. And I think Coinbase deserves a lot of credit in sort of leading the way. And then you see folks like Robinhood coming in, right, and building on Ethereum as well. And it's just the tip of the iceberg. And so, yeah, I think real world assets is going to be a major, major growth area. Because look, what does DeFi enable, right? DeFi is always on. It's permissionless. It's accessible to everyone in the world. It's instant. And if you get everything into DeFi, the digital assets, the crazy memes, the AI agents, as well as the world sort of economy, you're talking about the single biggest marketplace, the single best marketplace in the world that all the traditional ones can't compete with. And so I don't think DeFi wins for any ideological reasons, although I'm very, very aligned with the ideological reasons. It wins because it is a better product.